Thursday evening. Yo, I don't know what to do, man. I'm so used to Thursday night football, man. The playoffs threw
That's
me
right.
off.
It's different now. The
It's
end of the
different
season
now,
is way
right?
different.
No college football to look forward to, man. Lucky Lefty podcast, Honora Boys in the building, brought to you by Honora Whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure you drink responsibly. Look, Junior Day coming up this weekend. Mike Brown, we're going to talk about it, Left. We already went over film of Sean Terry. We already went over film of Elijah Burris, out of New Jersey, Plaxico Barris' son, and Mike Brown continues to give out more offers, 25 kids, 26 kids, a couple of those kids today. We're going to check out their film. Check out their film. See, Mike Brown goes to areas that you like, Left. He hits Pennsylvania.
Okay.
He hits New Jersey. He hits,
Okay.
he hits Las Vegas.
Okay.
He hits
Lomo
California.
Duze.
See,
Lomo Duze out
you
there.
you see Mike Brown, he doesn't go. See, you don't like I don't understand why you don't like going across the border, dude. You can find some gems across the border. You know what I'm saying? You got to open your eyes a little bit from the recruiting standpoint, Left. It's almost like going to international recruiting. It's almost going to like these nice. Do you guys have a Mariano's out in California? I'm sure you don't. I think
Mariano's. I think that's a
Okay.
regional thing,
I
maybe.
mean, Mariano's is this. They have like all of the great foods. It's a mixture of whole foods with a regular grocery store on the grocery store side. But then if you go to the right, it's like they got this fresh juice counter where they make fresh juices. Then they have a fresh popcorn and chocolate counter where they make fresh chocolate, fresh popcorns, the caramel, the cheese on a daily basis. It's wonderful. Then they have the gelato spot, right? And then they have the Italian spot for fresh hot food. Then they have another spot for fresh hot food. And then you go to the back to the butcher and they'll actually cook your steak for you right there. You pick out your steak, they'll grill it for you right there. You tell them how to cook it, you tell them the seasonings, whether or not you want grilled onions or other things on top of it. So it's like an all-inclusive experience for grocery where you can go and get lunch, have a salad, nice salad bar, nice soup bar. I don't do we is there anything out in California like that?
Man, California got a lot of these nifty places in like the Huntington, Manhattan beach areas, these one off cities outside of the main LA downtown where you can find more of the niche, I would call them niche type of spots.
Mm-hmm.
But this is central of tacos, burritos, and anything ramen and sushi. So those are your more classics. You'll find your Italian places here and there, but you're gonna get a burrito before you know it.
So yeah. So that's the spot that I frequent a lot. Because I like going, we have another one here in the Midwest called Pete. Now, dude, their dinner bar is spectacular. They have a Cajun shrimp and chicken pasta. Me and my daughter over the break when she was here, dude, we went there like every other day.
That's
Absolutely.
that sounded a little different.
Oh,
What
and
was the sauce on it? You gotta talk about the
it's
sauce.
like a creamy, spicy Alfredo sauce, Left. It's like a creamy, spicy
See,
Alfredo
the
sauce.
spicy Cajun Alfredo sauce is always a good thing.
Man,
I think that's the
it's amazing, man. Then you team that with they do a very nice short rib. They do a very nice barbecue brisket.
yeah.
Yeah, so you know, I'm trying to figure out what my go-tos are going to be out in LA, bro. Because I don't do the sushi. I'm a real dude from the
You're
Midwest.
not the
No,
sushi.
I'm a real dude from the Midwest, bro. I had to find me some protein.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to find me some protein, dude, because I'm not coming out there trying to eat the same things I can eat here. I gotta find me some spots. Gotta find me some niche spots.
That's true.
So, Lucky Lefty podcast, legislation. There was a hearing on Capitol Hill about amateurism and NIL today, Left. Did you know that?
Mm, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, some pretty ridiculous things were said by some of the legislators today. And the LL question of the day: is amateurism dead? Is amateurism dead? Left, let me ask you a question before we get into also the Loren Landow era begins as workouts began in Notre Dame, all season workouts. You saw the video, all over social media today that Notre Dame put out. Let me ask you this, Left. As a quarterback at Notre Dame, especially, what's the feeling? And because I might be overthinking this, what's the feeling towards other athletes on campus that are from non-revenue sports? Like when you all in the room, do you know or do you feel like, yo, I'm funding you? Like, yo, I'm funding your sport. The flight you took, I'll tell you, my wife came back Sunday, right? She was actually on the plane with Notre Dame volleyball. She was like, yo, they was geared to death too. She was like,
It was they took the charter. I mean not charter, they took a regular
they
flight,
took a
but
regular flight. My wife was on the plane with them. She was like, yo, they walked in geared up. Like you could tell. Like, okay.
yeah, I went with the Penn State basketball team one time.
Oh, yeah. And she was like, yo, they were geared up. And she said it was the coach's birthday as well. So they sang happy birthday to her on the plane. And she was like, yo, they were super cool. And I just started thinking, like, what is the dynamic on college campuses, dude? When it comes to knowing you're a basketball player at Kentucky, or you're a football player at Notre Dame, or at Georgia, or at Alabama, or you're a basketball player at Duke, it has to be some type of feeling. Like when you're walking around, because you know that your sport basically funds a vast majority of the athletic department. And ladies and gentlemen, Left dropped off for a second. I'm sure he'll be right back. There's no way that some players or some people, especially the players with big egos, don't feel like, man, what's up with that? Why is that? Like, dude, I fund your flights. Man, what you have on, that's me. Your scholarship, that's me. It's very interesting. That's why I feel like NIL works because it helps those non-revenue sports and their best athletes actually get funding across state lines, which was actually talked about on Capitol Hill today. But as always, before we dig deep into that, YouTube channel, Lucky Lefty Podcast, the thumbs up, smash it for us, man. We appreciate it. Subscribe, share, let everybody know about the podcast. And then the notification bell. You might as well hit that as well. Every time we go live or we post some content, you'll know about it. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast, also available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, audio edibles each and every day. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know we spin it different. So, Capitol Hill today, they had a hearing. Legislatures, both sides of the aisle. They had witnesses, athletes, not just from revenue sports, but from non-revenue sports that actually have NIL deals testifying on the Hill today. I'm just going to read to you some of the highlights of what took place today. This is from Ross Dellinger, who I believe works for Yahoo Sports, who happened to be present. Charlie Baker, the new NCAA president, he said this to lawmakers today. If you convert all of college sports into employment, there is simply no doubt, based on math, that you will lose an enormous number of student athlete opportunities. The money is just not there. Most money on sports. Now, Mr. Baker, I'm sure you have calculations to back up what you said to lawmakers today. But see, here's the funny thing. We see revenue from sports continue to change. We constantly see college presidents, athletic directors take on a fiscal model based on the NFL. We already saw the NFL turn playoff games into streaming services or put playoff games on streaming services this past weekend. And with that, they saw great success because the Chiefs playoff game was one of the most highly viewed streamed games or content ever on Peacock. So they're setting the stage. You know
Wait a
this.
minute, though. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, go right
It's the
ahead. Go.
highest streaming in comparison to what? Any stream game?
Left before you got back on, I was just talking about what Charlie Baker said on the Hill. You can skew any argument because basically Charlie
Yes.
Baker said,
Yes, I agree with that.
yo, the money isn't there to just make everything based upon the professional model with college sports and just make these guys employees. Based upon what? Because
Based
I'm sure
based upon what?
you have some calculations that will back up what you're saying. I'm sure you do. You wouldn't come and testify without having calculations to back you up. But let's be real. Everything fiscally in college football and college sports is based upon the professional model. College football, their TV deals, they're following after Roger Goodell in the NFL. They know this. That's why in the future you're going to see college football playoff games streaming.
I mean, it turns into pay-per-view at that point, right?
What did we say last week? Oh, the Super Bowl pay-per-view
See, I don't know. I
1999
see. I don't want to agree on the Super Bowl. I agree on
okay,
the playoff games,
left. When it
but that would
happens,
take away
when it
though.
happens, you're buying for the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is
Okay,
your crib.
you
You're
don't. You
treating
don't. Do you think that it takes away or no?
from the experience.
No, from the viewership. Because not everybody in the world has streaming capabilities. Because remember when Peacock had the first game of Notre
But
Dame
wait a
and
minute.
everybody.
How many people actually view the Super Bowl at their home? The Super Bowl is usually a gathering at somebody's crib that has the best food, the best TV. It's very similar to big fights. It's very similar to UFC. Very similar, bro. It's very similar. So when you talk about the future and how big the Super Bowl actually is worldwide, do you know how much money can be made? Do you know how much money they can make?
But I think they would lose money because
Man.
doesn't the price per commercial break, right? That's
Hmm.
driven based off of the fact that it's the most viewed sporting event in the world every year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so being on streaming, you'll lose some of that leverage from ad space
How? How? It
because
doesn't change how people view. People go to other people's homes to watch the Super Bowl.
okay, so you don't
It's
think
the
it
same
affect viewership?
model. It's the same model as fights in UFC. Everybody finds someone that's going to pay for it and cook food. It's the exact same thing happens. But it's more people. It's absolutely more people.
Okay, okay. So what
I
about
don't think college presidents, athletic directors, or the NFL can control themselves. That's what it comes down to.
okay? So the
And that's the
greed is going to
reason
be why they push for it.
greed is the reason why they're in the situation they are with NIL. NCAA could have handled the Ed O'Bannon case correctly and put guardrails in years ago, capped NIL, made a deal on percentage of name, image, and likeness that goes for jerseys and all that. All of that could have been settled years ago. Their greed and not wanting to allow players to participate in revenue that they knew would grow exponentially is the reason why they're in the position today. And it's the reason why they're throwing tantrums, the NCAA, and don't want to participate in NIL and give rules. They're just like, we're just going to let it go haywire. Well, you caused this. You're the cause of this. And
Yeah.
now you want legislators to help you do your job. You want legislators to empower you. When this was a simple 1 + 1 = 2. We're
One
selling
plus
your
one
jersey.
equals two. That's all it is.
See, because years ago it was just about jerseys, pictures, autographs. That's all it was about. Now you have athletes viewing TV deals, percentages on TV deals, commercials, using their face for a promo to promote next week's game. All of that is fair play now.
All of it.
All of it is fair play. And all you had to do was Ed O'Bannon basically said, yo, you're selling my jersey and my name. Just give me a percentage. Like who didn't foresee? Wait a minute, because this happened at the same time. They already had conference championship games. Don't stop giving people. There's no way. You know how many smart people in this world, dude? You mean to tell me all of the attorneys that they have at the NCAA, all of the financial forecasters, they didn't know that conference championships were going to blossom. They didn't know the success of the SEC when they had the first conference championship. They couldn't forecast the amount of revenue that was coming. Man, you miss me with that. Greed. Flat out greed. They didn't want anybody that was an athlete to take part in the revenue. They never wanted that to be the case. They still don't want that to be the case. They don't.
And the reason I was gonna get fixed too is them curbing the way that it is now. That's the NCAA fixing it.
They didn't. And the best way, see, this is the problem. They just won't admit it. Just admit it. Yo, this is what we wanted. We see now that that's impossible. The train has pulled out the station. We can't get it to come back. You ever seen that movie? You know what it's like, Left? The Denzel Washington movie with the runaway train. That's what this is what NIL is like. You got two guys on the train with no brakes.
Oh, was it Pelham 1, 2, 3? I think it's Pelham 1, 2. Yeah.
They trying to put everything in front of this train to get it to stop. Because the last thing they wanted to do was derail with all the toxic chemicals they have connected to it.
Yep,
that's the last thing they want. That's the last thing they want. Unfortunately, that's what they have right now. They got a runaway train that if they allow it to continue to go, it's going, man, it's a lot of people that's going to get impacted by the derailment. A lot of people.
Well, I think it's impacting and moving some of the old generation out. I mean, it's turning into a new game almost.
It's ridiculous, man. This dude talking about the money's not there. Then why are legislators fighting so hard to give it back to the schools and the NCAA? Charlie Baker, why are you fighting so hard begging for legislation to be done? Because you know the money's there and the money's going to continue. You don't think the college football playoff revenue was about to exponentially grow in the next 5 years with playoff expansion? We don't need economists to tell us that. It's 1 + 1 = 2. It's simple. It's not that hard to figure out. It's not. So we're on Capitol Hill begging for help because we didn't have the common sense to see what was coming. It wasn't that hard. You were dealing with T-shirts and jerseys. That's it. And now, with the amount of money that is coming in, I wouldn't want to give it up either.
Hey, it's hard to touch it.
Man, I would not want to give it up either. But it is what it is. Lucky Lefty podcast. Then you have Representative Rick Allen, representative from Georgia, bro. He said, I want to get college football back to some normalcy, Left. Normalcy? And that means reverting to amateurism. I also want the ball back in the NCAA's court. I want them to have full control again. Bro, amateurism is dead, bro. You're not getting that horse back in the barn. You really think players have got a taste of the pie and you think you can put that horse back in the barn? No, my man. It's a
Not gonna
wrap.
happen.
It's a wrap. Y'all, you can either unionize and allow the players to have a seat at the table. You can come up with caps, salary caps, NIL caps, and other, but just going back to no NIL, no participation in revenues from young men and young women in college sports, that day is dead.
That day's dead.
That day is dead. You know when amateurism died? The moment the United States in pride got shamed and sent the dream team to Barcelona, amateurism died. The moment USA basketball got shamed for not winning a gold and felt like they had to send professionals over to the Olympics,
Yeah,
oh, that was it.
that was it.
What are we talking about? Because you proved that it's bigger than amateurism and the spirit of the games and equal playing fields. It's always about the money and greed, Left. It's always about the money. David Stern could not allow basketball not to be the United States main sport. He could not allow the rest of the world to say, yo, we have it over the United
Yeah,
States. He couldn't allow it. It was bad for branding. And I agree with him because he was able to globalize the game the way he wanted to and draw FIBA into the NBA. See, he would have given FIBA leverage.
see, that's always an interesting thing because I do think it's a more globalized sport, but the NFL is a more popular sport. Is that how it is?
I would say that. Why do you think that is? I think the NBA, the players in the NBA, because it's a player driven league, are more popular globally and internationally than NFL players. Like LeBron, Mike, Kobe, internationally,
Yeah,
they
we
go
don't
on
have
tour.
enough. We don't have enough.
Dude, they spend the entire summer in China and in Asia on tours, on shoe tours, and don't come back for months.
Yeah, that's true.
It's crazy in the off season how much money they get by staying overseas. NFL, not so much, but NFL team.
With a Germany thing and how they play overseas, I feel like that has some good turnout. Like people come to those games.
NFL Europe, I thought NFL Europe was going to survive. I thought it was a really good idea.
Really, it's not
I
enough
did
people. That's a soccer
initially,
place,
but you're right. That's why, because the Bears play in Europe next year.
and they play in Mexico too.
I think so. I think so. And dude, Chicago Bears fans are like Notre Dame fans, bro.
They gonna go to London.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Where's it? Germany? They go to.
It's gonna be packed. Nothing but Bears fans. Doesn't matter how bad the Bears are. They travel everywhere. Everywhere. I think Thomas Jones was telling me it's like at least 5 Bears bars in the downtown LA area, dude.
Oh yeah, it is. There's a ton of
Yeah.
Bears bars
He
here.
said Chicago Bears bars are easy to find in LA.
There's a lot of Chicago people in LA though, so that's the other thing.
Facts. 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 So amateurism, in my opinion, Left, is dead. And I don't really think it impacts Notre Dame that much because Notre Dame has taken a sit back, wait and see approach. They're definitely not as aggressive in the NIL space as everyone else.
We're
But Jack
aggressive.
Swarbrick knew the NCAA.
I think we're aggressive with like certain things. Like okay, quarterback, it is what it is. You're gonna have to pay that. But we're not paying a star running back or like a nickel safety. I don't see us doing that. But for a running back, we're paying that.
Hmm. It's I can see that, man.
I don't think we paid the guy from Duke, the DN transfer. Did we pay him? I don't think so.
I'm sure RJ Oben got a little stipend.
Okay, what are we saying? Like Alabama paying, Georgia's paying.
No, I'm saying that he got a little stipend. I'm sure he didn't get Sam Hartman, Riley Leonard money, but I think him, Chris Mitchell, well, I think they got some stipends. They got a little
Oh,
lunch
is it
money.
six figure stipend or what
They
were
got
you?
they got a
You got
little
a couple dollars. You got
they
some
got a
pocket
little lunch
change.
money. You know, they got a little lunch money, little lunch money.
They put Sam's money on the books. They put that up in escrow.
But see, this is
They
what I'm saying. If you cap, let's say you cap NIL for your team at 5 million. That's just a number, right? Your quarterback is going to take most of that. That's the NFL salary cap model. This is what I'm saying. Your quarterback is going to take most of that, just like in the NFL. So now you have to manage the rest of the NIL.
who would I guess who are you having that conversation with at Notre Dame? By the way,
Well,
is
the
that Chad
collective.
Bowen?
No, no,
Is
no.
you talk?
Unless it is legislated to be connected to the school and through the school, these are collectives not connected to the school, right? But the collectors are only allowed to spend so much money on the team. There is no, I'm not sure that the NCAA could ever have full control again over NIL.
Yeah, no.
I'm not sure. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just not sure. Right. So the best thing, see, Notre Dame is sitting back and playing this perfectly because Notre Dame is just sitting waiting, saying, okay, we're waiting to see how this turns out because we can go either way. But Notre Dame is like, y'all really don't want us to jump in feet first with an open market with the money we have, right? And Notre Dame would never go crazy, even if it stays in open market. Notre Dame would never go crazy in NIL like that. They would never have to compete, or they would be the good stewards that they are. They would be the good stewards that they are. But in theory, it will never happen because I don't think they're humble enough to do it. You need to give these players a voice. You need to give these players a seat at the table. That's the best option. Give them a seat at the table. They're far too intelligent. Expect players at athletes at Notre Dame. Do you really think athletes at Notre Dame don't know monetization and the levels? You don't think they know how to forecast where things are going based upon the current system? They already know that. So what's happening on Capitol Hill with this hearing? Notre Dame fans need to pay attention to it. Notre Dame, Jack Swarbrick, he saw, and I'll tip my cap to Jack Swarbrick and the way he played things, right? Jack Swarbrick played poker. He played poker or spades, either one, right? If you're playing spades like I play spades, that cat, Pete, man, Pete Bavacqua is still holding the big joker, bro, because of Jack Swarbrick. Pete Bavacqua and Notre Dame still hold the big joker in this spades game. They're sitting and waiting. Like, yep. And at the right time, they can pull it out, put it on their forehead, like, yep, here it is.
At any time, though, that's the best part. That's why we have the choice to want to win or not. Because it's a choice. We either gonna go with it or we're not. And I think that Pete Pravakwa being in a great spot. At the end of the day, Jack Swarbrick set up well enough for Marcus Freeman and Pete Pravakwa to still hold some leverage going into this NIL space, this playoff space.
So it's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting. It's definitely gonna be interesting. Left Notre Dame and his coaches were back. They've been on the road all week, man. That private life, boy, that private life must be good, dude. I wonder if they're getting nice, steak dinners on the plane.
Yeah, you so place to place. You hardly you hardly think about it. It just still becomes a job in a lot of aspects.
And they're doing it real quietly. They're not out here like Kirby and Mario Cristobal, with the videos of the helicopters and all of that. They're just going and grinding, dude. Going and grinding. Seeing some of the best kids on the West Coast, the East Coast, the South, getting it done. And that's what it is. It was good to see Mike Denbrock on the road, left. Real good. He was out there to see the quarterback, the 26 kid out there in Folsom. Heard great things about him. You loved the dude, the Lions kid. You loved his film. Absolutely loved his
Right,
film.
Ryder Lions, right?
Yeah, man. 6'3", 210.
Yeah, got a really good size to him. The only thing is, I don't want him to get overweight because he's perfect weight now and he's young. So, you don't get skinnier as you get older either.
Speak for yourself, dude. I'm coming off dropping weight, baby.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Lucky Lefty podcast, man. So you never answered the question from earlier because I think you dropped off. Like, did you have? Because I want to get to these workouts, right? Because I was laughing when I watched the video because you were right, man. The form that these cats had in their first workout, dude.
You would have thought it was USA Olympic trials, boy. Them boys is in there. I'm like, listen, you're not gonna score all the touchdowns right here, man. It's just day one, It's just, but they hype,
Oh
They
man,
want to see what everybody kind of got how they moving. It's one of those you put a
dude, the
bunch of
arms,
baby
the arms
lions
were
in.
straight.
Oh man, straight. The
The
strength coach like,
legs
well,
were
hold on
nice and
now. We
high.
just they said we going 50%, guys. You got to remind them. It's just warming up. We 50% because by the end of the first workout, everybody's gassed.
Right, right.
Like before we even lift, you got the whole team like, "Ooh, this college thing is hard." No, guys, you guys got to learn pace in college. Learn pace in college, dog.
So the veterans are over there laughing, right?
Oh
And
man, we have a
they just
great
let
time because you try to tell them. You can't tell them nothing because they're young and they excited. They
right.
just like, hey, you first workout. It's just y'all in there. You didn't see all the big weights and it's all organized and they yelling at you and it's like a basic training. Your first day in basic training, you don't know what to expect.
Mhm.
They come in there yelling, "Get yes, sir!" Those, that whole thing, and that's exactly what it kind of is. But
Mhm.
the guys take it real serious. But there's no Super Bowls won in that first workout at all.
So when you were on campus, maybe you didn't. Like I said, maybe I'm overthinking it. Was there a feeling that ever or thought that ever went through your mind and say, "Man, we are this athletic department. We kind of fund everything." Because I would think it would be hard not to feel that way at a Notre Dame or Georgia or at Alabama.
Well, there's a respect too. It's like you know that when you start hearing them. When you start hearing them TV deals and you start hearing how much we're making at the bookstore a week, you start to figure they ain't doing that on the volleyball team. And it's no shade.
Mhm.
And we still go and support. But when the rent's due and the money needs to be paid, we know generally where it's coming from. So we understand when we get the exclusive football training tables and the extra flights and it's all relative.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just wondered because it was very interesting to me, man, that when you look at everything that's happening on Capitol Hill, there is an imbalance, or usually on most big time college campuses where they have programs with either it's rare that you have the dual combination of basketball and football, both being major contributors. It's one or the other. And
Does
Kentucky,
is our women's basketball team major contributors like the team to the athletics? Because I know they packed every game almost.
yeah, but I don't know how much revenue they generate. It's probably based upon see left, that's the difficult, right? That's the difficult conversation to have, right? That's because I watch WNBA games consistently, left.
You watch it like you watch the NBA regular
Oh
season?
yeah, 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 yeah. Like if there's
Well,
a
the season's
WNBA,
only like a couple months though, right?
yeah, but if
Yeah,
there,
it's not
because
that
first of all, the Chicago Sky games are always on. So
right.
I'm always checking in with the Sky, especially when they had Candace here for about 3 years, right? And then, yo, I love the Liberty. Love watching the Aces.
Well,
I love
ESPN has
watching.
made a concerted effort to put them on TV. They made a concerted effort to put them on TV. I mean, put WNBA on like it's like, Tuesday night basketball or something.
Yeah. And now I'll be honest. Anytime, dude, I watched Notre Dame BC the other night. I was irritated. I'm like, dude, Notre Dame keeps giving these games away. Like they are good, man. They're so young, inexperienced. They don't know how to
Oh yeah, yeah.
close
Shrew's
games.
team, hell
Yeah,
yeah, man. Yes,
they
we are
do,
in every game where you're like, I can see us if we were just a little older and a couple pieces, this and that. We are winning these games.
dude.
Like you see the foundation, like okay, because the teams that we're playing are like put together. They got some stuff, some experience, some skin in the game. But as a team that's really coming together right now, come on, we can hit the ceiling.
Man, absolutely. And that BC game was just painful. They were up 13, controlling the game, and just could not execute offensively down the stretch. And then getting beat on back to back pick and pops from the only kid, the post kid on BC that can hit a shot.
That can hit the shot. It's just
He's
like,
the
oh,
only
that's
kid,
a young mistake. That's a young, you
and you
young.
don't know how to play the pick and pop. That, like you said, that's just but they play hard. They play
They play
defense.
hard. They not gonna give up. They're not
Man,
intimidated when they out there.
dude, they are the future is really bright. The
They
future is
make it
really
easy
bright.
to root for them. Maybe that's what
Oh,
it is.
absolutely,
Some teams
absolutely.
you like, I just can't find it. Maybe Shrews ain't the answer.
Hmm.
But this is where you really find them to be like, okay, I can root for this team and really see them like that Coach Bray's team when we was making the Elite Eight. Where
Yeah,
we had some guys, we're like, okay, I like Jaren. I think we got Zach August is all right. We got some pieces, and then we play well as a unit. Demetrius Jackson.
yeah, yeah. I understand, man. And Notre Dame is really becoming, with men's basketball taking a step forward, women's basketball being what it is. Notre Dame lacrosse looking to go back to back. Notre Dame fencing, it really is becoming a school of collegiate champions. Notre Dame hockey was just in the Frozen Four not too long ago, always at the top of the Big Ten standards.
Lacrosse always at the top.
Yeah, men and women's.
And
Soccer was number one for a while before they lost in the playoffs. Look, Notre Dame, from an overall, what Jack Swarbrick has created is really his legacy, man. It's really a well balanced athletic department at Notre Dame. If you take a step back, we know football is what it is, but if you really take a step back and look at the
I mean,
success,
even our club, not club, even our lower, not even lower, how you say it, like swimming. We've had
mhm,
some Olympians. We've even had the Olympian break her own record in track and field, Molly.
mhm.
Lord, forgive me, I forgot her last name, but she's an Olympian and was a huge cross country
Baseball,
runner.
baseball
They,
for 2 or 3 years,
yeah,
man, has really stepped up. So it is. Look, it's amazing, man. That's amazing. That is Jack Swarbrick's legacy, man. On top of NIL, the TV deal before he left, the apparel deal before he left, all of that. But it's really the balance that he brought to Notre Dame across the entire athletic department.
yeah,
That
he's
is
definitely. I think that's the feather in his cap he can lean on is the fact that he's been able to create a well balanced athletic program. It hasn't just been how some programs are just dominant in one area. You don't even know they have another program. Like Alabama for a long time's basketball team was very shameful.
fact.
We didn't know anything about it. But now, when the basketball's buzzing, the football's buzzing, there's more respect for the program. And I think that's what makes Notre Dame being independent so relevant is the fact that our teams are relevant each and every season. We're competitive each and every year. We're in the conversation for championships. Most of the time we're ranked, We got accustomed to having the number one rank sign being on one of our dorms anytime a team gets to that status. So because Notre Dame as an independent has been they gotta talk about us. They gotta give us credit. Unlike other independent schools, we only know them for certain things. BYU's only
Mhm.
known for football, really. You don't hear
Man,
about their other sports teams thriving. So that's what makes Notre Dame worth the conversation while Jack can sit in those rooms, Pete Bravacqua can sit in those rooms and make changes on how college football can be directed, is because that all these programs and conferences are mad that we can operate on our own. We can be competitive on our own. We can recruit on our own and still beat your teams that are in conference that have to join up to make money and make TV money. We can make money, make TV money, talk stuff, not join your conference, and win 10 games a year. Now, our only conversation is championships, but we're requiring championships from a single team as opposed to championships coming from a conference made of many different teams.
yeah,
So if you're just knocking us for championships, well, hell, we doing it all by ourselves and are competitive with these Power Five conferences. Like y'all have to click up to have more weight for a TV deal that we're getting a huge cut and take it home ourselves. Y'all got to split the pie. Y'all got to wear hand-me-down clothes. We got our own clothes in our own closet, you know. So
yeah.
that's why it's a matter of time. If we were to win a championship before the 12-team playoffs, we would shake college football. We would make the NIL rules.
Yeah, yeah. Man, shout out to Coach Shrewsbury for sticking up for his point guard this week because they allow teams, especially late in games, to just push him around, be way too physical. He should be going to the free throw line a lot. That's why when someone asks me, what does he need? Once he's able to extend his range and be consistent from three, it's a wrap. You're talking about at least 20, 22 points per game for Marcus Burton. Easy. Easy. It's gonna be an easy 22. And Lil Shrewsbury can ball.
Yeah, I mean, what you think of his game? You think
He's
he's
nice. He's
yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah.
He's
He gives
nice.
off a oh man, the
He's just
guy for the
real
Warriors
smooth.
with the
Just
red
real
hair.
smooth. He's like real Clay Thompson like. Just real Clay Thompson like. Real smooth. Right? You just man, just come off these picks. Efficient dribbling.
Yeah, I think he knows the game well enough to play well
He's a
within that.
coach's son. He's a coach's son. Like you said, Lefty knows the game. He knows the game. Lucky Lefty podcast. Something else that's great for Notre Dame. Look, Left, I told you I was very interested in seeing one of the greatest things to look forward to in the offseason would be to look at the evaluation of new wide receiver coach Mike Brown. And now we see more and more wide receiver offers. Elijah Burris, Sean Terry II, who I talked to today, who doesn't have the offer yet, but he's going to be visiting Junior Day this week. He's super excited. He's been talking to Coach Brown. He's been talking to Coach Freeman. He's amped to get up to South Bend. And we continue with that with Lex Cyrus. This kid out of Harrisburg, PA, 5'11, 165, but don't get it twisted. He's a 3-star, but when you watch this young man's film, Left, yo, I like the evaluation from what I'm seeing from the guys that Mike Brown is adding to the offer sheet. I like what I'm seeing, man, because the evaluation is real smooth and real nice. I'm impressed with his evaluation. And of course, I'm sure he's giving giving the film over to Mike Denbrock and other offensive players. But this kid right here, easy speed, Left. Just great run. Once again, another wide receiver in his evaluation that's great after the catch, Left. Great after the catch. That is something that he is focused on. So either he has identified that as something that is missing in the Notre Dame wide receiver room, and he's like, yo, we need to add this. Lex Cyrus, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. If Harrisburg sounds familiar, it is the home of one Ricky Waters. Like I said, a Pennsylvania kid Left. You're gonna like him. His look, a lot of stop routes, a lot of hitches, and then just let him do his work. Look at that. Look at that. And his speed is easy, Left. And when you watch this young man's film, he just pulls away. It looks like defenders have the angle, and the more you watch his film, he just pulls away. And it's easy, it's effortless. You can see the track speed that he has. I think he's like 10.7 or something like that in the 100 meters. That's just easy speed, man. Easy speed. These kids get to play on TV with graphics like crazy nowadays. That's crazy. Look at that. He's just catching hitches, stop routes, out routes. Give it to him in the backfield. Once again, special teams value. Just watch the angle. The defenders look like they have him. He's running to the right, angle, and looking at his film left, he doesn't look like super fast. But you watch the film, and it's like either everybody in Pennsylvania is slow. Look at this left. They had the angle.
Yeah, I think the one thing he has that long speed and it's deceptive because the suddenness is what matters at the line of scrimmage. Is he's sudden enough to get off the jam? Is he sudden enough to run his route? But the best part about him is that once he catches it that long speed, he can separate, and that's good to see for a guy his size.
Bro, it is. I was talking to Double R Ryan Roberts, and I'm like, is it me? Or is he just outrunning everybody? And I'm like, I know they have good players in Pennsylvania. Ryan is from that area. And Ryan's
Yeah,
like, yo, I know some of the teams he's playing. He was like, those are other good players. He's just running by them.
yeah, I think the value too is that he has a certain physical quality to him that allows him to get in there a little earlier, more of like a Jaden Daniels. I mean, a Jaden Thomas. The size is going to help him create separation, but he has a little more speed and a little more uh, je ne sais quoi, a
Mm,
little more sliver, pep to his step, a guy that knows who he is as an athlete. I think Jaden Thomas was kind of figuring that out as he's fit into a role. But this kid looks like he knows what he's good at, and if we accentuate that and continue to not ask him to do things out of what he does good so far with the hitches and go routes and just creating separation, I think that's where we're gonna win with him, man.
left, man. You talk about someone that can make life simple for a quarterback. Dude, his film literally out routes, hitches. Just give me the ball. Give me the ball as quick as you can and let me go to work. That's it.
Yeah, you're not watching a lot of film of him catching and getting tackled. It's him catching and really just taking and taking long runs after the catch. So he's a guy that if you can catch and make a 5 into a 15, 20, or a touchdown, these are
Mm,
one of the players that qualify. And he has football speed. That's what we give him. When you can't really tell if he's fast or not, but he continues to separate from guys on film, that's called football speed, game speed. Something that is more important, who I thought who had really good game speed was Kyron Williams.
mm.
And it
Yeah.
showed that talent of having game speed, because it's a talent. It's not so much of a actual thing you can train for. In my opinion, it's a thing where you can turn it on and look faster in the game than anything on a testing thing. And Kyron is a prime example of that. That he may not test the greatest, but when that game speed on, he's creating separation, and this is one of those talents.
Lex Cyrus, once again, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Susquehanna Township High School. I think I got that right. Susquehanna Township High School, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. 5'11. I'll give him 5'11 left, 165. Offers from Penn State, Auburn, Duke, Indiana, Iowa State, Michigan, Notre Dame, Nebraska, Auburn, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, Texas A&M, you name it.
All these tapes are starting to bleed into the same.
And he held an offer from Wisconsin, and
All
that's where
these
Mike Brown
archetypes are
came from.
bleeding into these versatile two-way multiple position athletes, when
Hmm.
we think about it. And I think it's going to be great for recruiting as we continue to grow, because now you got plug and play guys. Denbrock is like, man, I have a whole box of Legos instead of, oh, I just got one or two pieces to the puzzle.
Right. He has a neighbors type, and then he has a Thomas type. That's the big physical wide receiver. The combination he had at LSU. 25 kid, currently a 3-star. He probably gets to a 4-star from what I see left. The kid is
Yeah, I don't think he has 5-star traits like those things that you can see on camera where you're like, oh, this is a 5-star. Like, boom, he just one of. But he's going to have enough value that he may not shock you standalone, but once he gets into his role,
Hmm.
he's what Jordan Faison's impact is on the team.
Yeah.
Where he may
So
not be the number one receiver, but he's
mhm.
got the talent that he pops in there and he start making some plays. Like, wait a minute, who was that?
Yeah.
And this is it. Now instead of saying walk on, this is a scholarship guy. We just been getting him working through the fold. That's the recruiting stories you're telling.
So Mike Brown is putting in work. This kid, he was on him at Wisconsin before he came to Notre Dame, and he has convinced Notre Dame to go ahead and give him an offer. Look, Left, he's not done. When I tell you he's putting in work, he's not done, Left. You talk about two-sport athletes, we go to another one that Mike Brown has sent the
Another
offer
one.
to. Another
I
one,
think
Bill
Marcus
Walsh.
Freeman told him day one. He said, "Listen, don't recruit nobody if they don't do multiple things."
Right. He probably did. But this seems to be his type. And we go to this kid, Nasir Newkirk. Left. I'll just sit back and let you take it, bro.
Oh
5'11,
yeah. He said he's
175.
5'11".
5'11, 175, dude. Some people have him at 6 feet. This kid is acrobatic and once again, great. Once again, another receiver, great after the catch, Left.
One thing you're seeing from the last two films is that these guys aren't running nothing but give me the ball plays.
Mm-hmm.
This is that sideline to sideline offense that I believe Mike Denbrock is going to be able to implement when you're getting kids like this. Sideline to sideline, hit them vertical. Sideline to sideline, hit them vertical. Screens, throw out, swing passes, handed offs, reverses, jet sweeps, everything behind the line of scrimmage. These are behind the line of scrimmage players. And once we get those matchups, of one-on-one, we're hitting slants. We're not really
Yeah.
hitting concepts where we're reading the high-low and you're trying to throw a corner over a hitch. And it's more like, hey, we're going to run a slant because they're playing man and they're trying to chase our players sideline to sideline.
Yeah. Correction, Left. He is 6'2", 185. 6'2", 185. Greensboro, North Carolina, Dudley High School. So they go back to the Carolinas. Once again, they got Micah Gilbert out of Carolina this year. They go back to the Carolinas for this kid in 25. Nas, he had to be named after Nas, right? He had to. 25 kid, his name is Nasir. His full name is Nasir. I'm like, yeah, your parents definitely were hip hop heads, and they named you after Nas. Dig route across the middle. Easy.
Yeah,
I like these kids. They both of these kids catch the ball with their hands. Their hands. They catch the ball with their hands. I love wide receivers, especially young ones, that don't catch with their body and catch the ball with their hands.
Yeah, it shows they have natural ball skills. I think that's what both of them have displayed is that, yeah, you can throw it to me in different angles and I'm still able to catch it and get my groundings and surroundings to know how to still make plays with the football. So these are what make quarterbacks that aren't great accurately down the field. These is what make them look great on the stat sheet because they're going to take terribly thrown footballs and make catches out of them and then turn those into better yards.
Red zone maven as well. You're seeing them putting work on the fades. Mike Brown is impressing me with his evaluation, Left. Because you know why? The main guys, the top 150 guys, everybody knows those wide receivers, Left. I love the wide
Yeah,
receiver
Mike Brown
coaches
looks
that
like a
can
guy
get.
that's watching tape. That's
Mm-hmm.
trying to bring Marcus Freeman in the office. Be like, oh, I got one.
Yeah.
Hey, check this guy out. I done digged in the crates for this one.
Yeah.
Come stop in my office real quick. I got to show you a couple plays.
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of guy Mike Brown comes off as. He don't really
Everybody and
need
their
no
mama,
24/7
yeah.
under the radar rivals. He like, look, I'm gonna do the real work. You know,
Everybody and their mama knows Taylor is a dude.
Taylor's a dude. Now I wouldn't
You
mind having him. Now let's not act like
know,
we wouldn't love
hey,
him. I
dude,
love him.
he's 75 miles away. You're gonna have to put in the work to get him. Everybody wants him.
Everybody
Alabama,
wants him.
Georgia,
Yeah.
Miami, Michigan, Ohio State. You know what you have to do to get the kid. But while you're doing that, like I said, man, Mike Brown is not afraid to put on the tape, dig in, and you can definitely see that he is identifying wide receivers that can run after the catch, left yards after the catch, dangerous with the ball in their hands. Makes life easier, man, for quarterbacks and for offensive coordinators. Mike Denbrock is loving this. Now, this is the thing, love. This kid, Wisconsin, Georgia, Notre Dame, are really the only three big schools that are on him. Everybody else is like a HBCU,
I feel
smaller
like Georgia
school.
only offering guys because they see us doing it. Because we getting them one offs, guys that don't get the huge offers. That's normal for us. It ain't normal for Georgia to be somebody's offer where none of the other offers are weighing to that same amount. I think it's just get guys before they go somewhere else. I think Michigan does that to us a lot. Try to offer a guy just because we offer them. I think that happens,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we moved the pendulum. I think that's the most important part.
Once again, 3-star Nasir Newkirk out of Greensboro, North Carolina, 25 wide receiver. It's a 3-star. Love his film, man. Him and Lex Cyrus, two of the new offers by Mike Brown. People have been
We might get a
asking, like,
Will
yo,
Fuller out of this,
absolutely.
like the
People have been
chat was
asking,
saying.
what's up with wide receiver recruiting? You see what's up. It's been under evaluation, and now the offers are flowing, right? The offers are flowing, and that's like 5 offers within the last 6 days from Mike Brown and Notre Dame to 25 receivers. And they offered a 26 receiver out of Bishop Gorman to date.
Can't go wrong with Bishop Gorman. That's where Zach Branch came out of.
The kid hasn't even played receiver yet, though. The kid pretty much was nickel as a sophomore. 3 interceptions, 37 tackles, forced fumble recovery for a touchdown. Like they got on this kid as a sophomore, like, yo, you haven't even played. They're recruiting him as wide receiver, but he really hasn't got run as a wide receiver, right? And they're still on Derek Meadows, who's going into his senior season. And Derek Meadows was like the third or fourth best wide receiver on Bishop Gorman this past year. So kudos to Marcus Freeman, the staff, and all the work they're putting in, man. It is incredible to watch them truly dig into the film, go crazy. You got Dylan McCullough. This dude, he might as well buy a house in St. Louis. This cat, Dylan McCullough, he got Aeneas Williams, Jeremiah Love. Dude, running backs from St. Louis, Dylan McCullough. He get him a nice little condo downtown across the street from the Cardinals Stadium. Love it. Lucky Lefty
Love
podcast,
it.
man. Left, did you happen to see this, man? As we get ready to transition to our last topic of the show, did you happen to see this, bro? I want you to check this out. Well, that's not it. I don't know why I hit that one. Slip of the wrist. Here it is.
I do see color because I believe if you don't see color, you can't see racism. And whatever happens, black, white, disabled person, I've always, even someone with disabilities, I always, for the most part, people are like, don't, when they're young, they kind of make the spot hot. Younger people know what that means. But what I would say is, like, no, I want you to be able to go up to those people and really understand those people. So it goes back to whatever it is, black, white, yellow, it really doesn't matter, but it does matter so we can try to fix a problem that we all know we have.
See, Left, this is my issue. My issue is not whether or not you agree with him. That's life. He has a right to his opinion. You have a right to yours. Why are you getting so upset? This is the same man that watched the owner, who should have been prepared and knew the name of his wife and children, the correct pronunciation, and he made light of it, Left. And he wasn't. This wasn't his. This
Yeah,
wasn't. This
yeah.
wasn't. This wasn't in his address, dude. He didn't come out and say, I appreciate being named. He was asked, "What does it mean to you to be the first African American head coach in a city like Boston for the Patriots? It was a question. What did you want him to do? You wanted him to lie to you about how he feels? You want him to lie to you, right? Because I don't, no need for me to get into this political stuff. Dude, why does fear grip people so much, dude? Why does someone's opinion, why are you fearful of someone's opinion about color, racism, anything? It's their opinion, which is based upon their experience, bro. If you
Well, I
don't
guess
have
what did he say that was getting the uproar part?
dude, the whole, first of all, the full context of what he said was about bringing people together. You've said this, Left. I've heard Cam McDaniel say this on this podcast. I've heard other athletes say this. Paul Grassmanis made light of it. Dude,
Well, I thought it was way better
the
than
locker
anything the Michigan
room
coach said. That was
sports
I thought it was
talk.
in support.
Dude, he didn't even
I thought
answer
they
the
was in
question.
support of what he said because the Michigan dude just know. It was
He
like
didn't even answer the question. He didn't even answer the question. He just totally
it's been better than the Michigan coach and the dude from North Carolina, like Herbie
Dude.
Davis or whatever. Yeah, y'all.
Yeah, it's like, dude, that wasn't even the question. Why did you jump
What
to that?
is the question?
Dude, he directly answered a question that was posed to him.
That's
And
why I like it. Yeah.
he spoke his truth. Why does his truth from his experience bother you? It's not your truth. Why are you so upset on either side of the coin? Like, why are you upset with the people that's on this side of the coin? And why are you so upset with the people that are on the other side of the coin? Like, why so much vitriol and anger over him speaking his truth? It's his truth. He answered the question honestly and dude, there was so much race things that went left. Like, dude, that Robert Kraft thing, people could have taken that. Dude, the way he spun it and was like, yo, it's a black name. I got you. Like, dude, he spun it beautifully. This is a man that clearly has the ability to deal with all types of mindsets and to be able to spin it into a positive, just like he did for his owner. He didn't let Robert Kraft melt away and wilt away like he could have. He saved him. He threw him a life raft and said, yo, I got you. I got you, Mr. Kraft. And made light of it. Everybody laughed. And it was the same thing with the way he answered this particular question, man. It wasn't that serious, bro. It's not.
It definitely was hypersensitive over it.
It's not that serious, man. If you agree, fine. If you disagree, that's fine as well, dude. But the degrees I saw people take it to, it was like, it's a press conference, and it was a question. That's it.
He
They
said
act like
out of shape.
Bro, they act like that he came out like MLK, bro. Like a I have a dream speech. It's like, come on, man. And how do you not do? Did we not just see Notre Dame embrace? Did we not just see Notre Dame embrace color on Monday with Jack Swarbrick in a picture of his diversity hires? His recent diversity. We just saw Notre Dame embrace diversity and color on Monday. What is the big issue about embracing it, discussing it? What, dude? It is what it is, man. It's life. We're all different. It's okay to acknowledge that. It really is. We all see things different. We have different opinions on Notre Dame football. We have different opinions on culture, life. And it's okay. We don't have to get riled up about it. We don't have to have a problem with the other side of the aisle about it. That wasn't a political thing, man. That was someone answering a question from his life experience. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. I just didn't understand what the big upheaval was about, Left. I just really didn't. I thought I watched the entire press conference. It was quite funny. It was several funny moments in that press conference. that if people watching this totality, they would be like, you know what? Yeah. And then someone got on the report. Why would that person ask a question like that? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We're talking about Boston? Are you kidding me? Go look up the history of race relations in Boston. The greatest winner in sports is not Tom Brady in Boston. It's Bill Russell. Go look at how they treated Bill Russell in Boston. The greatest winner in the city's history. You darn right. That question was well within bounds. Well within bounds. I had no
Yeah, I
problem
think
with
the
it.
problem becomes when they try to rush past it or rush people off the point and try to like it's a two-way street. They hypersensitive or they try to rush you and be like, why are you talking about that? Like why it's no there's no space for that. Why are you ruining sports? It's like, well, it's a good question because it pertains to the city that caused the question to be asked.
Exactly, Left.
It's not like this is the city that is never known for nothing. It's a city that's known for a particular way, and the questions being asked. Don't rush me off of asking it or say it's irrelevant. It's very relevant, and I
Left.
think they knew that when they hired the guy.
Left.
They hired the guy knowing he was gonna get that question.
See, this is the thing. This is the thing. So we can break this down even further, dude. Left, you know this. You've seen my daughter. I have a beautiful chocolate daughter. Beautiful chocolate daughter. You know who had to have real conversations about my daughter? About color within her own culture and race? Me. We don't even have to go to other races. You want to know how real color is? As a father, I had to reaffirm to her that she's beautiful based upon things that exist within her own culture about color. We don't even have to talk about other races. So don't tell me color isn't real. It's real. It's real within our
Definitely real.
culture. It's an issue within our own culture that people within our own culture don't even really want to talk about. To be honest. So it's like, man, it is what it is, man. And it's nothing to be upset about. We should all be able to have a conversation, regardless of whether or not you agree or disagree. Period. Because that's a man, that conversation. I wish Jared Mayo was like, dude, I don't even he could have been like, I don't even have to bring up other races. I can talk about this issue within my own race and culture. Then maybe they would have been cool with it. But it's like, man, bro. I didn't even know that. NH said it's an issue amongst many cultures. That, like, the conversation obviously can be had in the midst of many cultures without going to other cultures.
Yeah, I think especially because the question was asked based off of a historical pretext. It's not like the question was a journalistic trying to dive in to make news and to try to stir up controversy. This is off of historical context. You can look at the type of person that's been coaching in Boston and realize this is a momentous moment. And what does it mean?
Dude, and like John Massey was like, did it get it? Wow. Are you kidding me? Fox News led with it. Fox News led with it and made it political. And of course, MSNBC had to counter them. It became political. Colin Rugg had it. All
The
the
news
pundits.
is kind of a mess right now. The way they
It's
report on
ridiculous,
stuff.
man. It's ridiculous, man.
Journalism ain't the same no more.
Life is too good, man, to fall prey to that type of foolishness, man. Lucky Lefty podcast. Did you see this, Left?
I always tell my guys, whether you win or lose, you win the right way. You lose the right way. You carry yourself the right way. You don't go through the handshake line or proud to get into the handshake line and have about 6 or 7 guys putting the horns down. We don't do that, because when you do those kind of things, it looks very classless, and it also looks like you were just hoping to win. We never go into games trying to hope to win. We go into games expecting to win. So we don't act like that.
That's head coach Rodney Terry of the Texas
But did they
Longhorns
win that game or
basketball
lose that
team.
game?
They lost left. They had a 14-point lead. They blew it in the second half to University of Central Florida. And the University of Central Florida players in the shakeup line were throwing the horns down. Now, they need to be put on the petty train. That's a little petty left. That's petty. You want to throw the horns down in the TV, the TV camera comes up to you, want to throw it down, fine. But the shakeup line at the end is all about
The
what?
shakeup line is supposed to be like, you cool, we cool, or we
Yes.
passed it.
Yes.
Like it stays here. Like
Yes.
we ain't going in the post game and horn and all of that. Cause that's where the classless thing exists. But it's the same way as like you can't tell nobody how to react when you do something to them. So
see,
we gotta
he
be
played
fair.
himself.
You can't. If we win, don't tell me how to celebrate, boy.
Rodney Terry played himself. So Rodney Terry,
You got to chill. You got to chill. You got to chill.
you got
Yeah,
to
you
chill,
gotta
bro.
relax, dude.
You gotta chill, bro. You gotta chill. Those are not your players. Now,
Yeah, those are not your. First of all, those are not your people you coaching.
No.
So that's first and foremost. You need to be
You can't
addressing
be
why the
going through the
rebounds,
line.
that 14-point lead. Come
Telling-
on, let's talk about that.
how are you telling them what they can and can't do and how they should react? It should be a lesson for you in the locker room. Like, look, no matter what happens, we're not doing that. If we win a game on the road, we're not going to act like that because I don't think that's right. That's his teaching moment for his team. Then you go to the press conference. First of all, you try to give advice to the players in the shakeup line, and then you go to the press. You still holding on to
you
it in the
giving
press
advice
conference?
to the players in the shakeup line like these ain't your team members. Don't be giving me advice when we won. That's the first thing.
What are
If
we talking
anything,
about?
and then the thing is, it's always the character of a person you determine. Like I look at it the same way.
And it's crazy, Left, because trash talking. Let me tell you something, Left. City of Chicago, man, is a very territorial place. A very territorial place, right? So, you hit a bucket, and then you hit a bucket, and somebody's in your face throwing up a gang sign talking about GD food, Vice Lord food. I mean, this is like normal, everyday neighborhood / basketball, Chicago public school. This is what it is, bro. It's crazy. I'm not lying to you, man. If you're sitting courtside at a Chicago public school game, you're going to see a kid say something related to the neighborhood or the streets. It just is what it is. That's trash talking at its best. Last year, when Caitlin Clark got into it with the young lady from LSU, and everybody was like, "Oh, she went overboard." Da da da. I thought Caitlin Clark went overboard on certain things she did against South Carolina, but dude, let them talk. It's the game. I don't care either way. Let them go. It makes the game more enjoyable, man. It's a more enjoyable game to watch. I love it, dude. I just watched Caitlin Clark drop almost 50 the other night, talking trash, rolling her eyes, letting people know, dude, you trash. You can't guard me. Loved it. Loved every minute of it. Every minute of it. MWJR, absolutely, dude. Tell you, Wild Hunteds, 12-8. What's up? Let you know. This is what I'm representing. Thank you, John Massey. Yo, it is what it is. So, Rodney Terry, man, you get a hold of yourself, sir. Get a hold of yourself. Notre Dame fans, what's the most irritating thing an opponent has done at the end of a game? Whether it's at Notre Dame Stadium or it was at their place. What's the most irritating thing that you feel like a team has done during your Notre Dame fandom? I can go to the Jerry Faust game at Miami. I can go to, I felt like Marshall was disrespectful at the end of that game, right? I felt like Stanford has been disrespectful at the end of certain games. What do you think was the most? I think Boston College was very disrespectful at the end of that game in the cameras. You know, you go back to Baker Mayfield. I mean, that's right. Michigan State planting their flag in the field at Notre Dame Stadium. You have what else can I remember? It's a lot of different things, man. Left who was anybody disrespectful as an opponent at the end of a game at Notre Dame Stadium in your time that you can remember? I think you're on mute, bro.
All right, say it again. I'm sorry.
I said, can you remember anyone being like disrespectful as an opponent after the game at Notre Dame Stadium during your time?
I mean, I feel like all is fair in competition. Like, I can't really tell you it's disrespectful because we competing and it is what it is. Like, I can't allow, like, if we're winning and it's disrespectful, I just look at it as you just salty, you losing. You
Hmm.
know, I haven't really seen too much disrespect where I'm thinking like, oh, these guys want something outside of football. You know,
Yeah, I think so too, man. It is.
but I think it's a perspective thing because you would talk to some guys on the team and they think that everything is personal. Everybody's doing something.
Really, from a competition standpoint.
Do you know that he's at the program, the after school program? Yeah. Did you get it? No, I called Keyshawn. Is Keyshawn with him? He's at Corvallis. You need to go check him
No,
out. He's waiting for you. I'm sorry.
so another call is coming through or something left. It sounds like the missus. Yeah, like we got the missus phone call coming through. I don't want that. I don't want that. Lucky Lefty podcast. Who knows what's going to come across in that phone call? Cincinnati, maybe. Cincinnati 2021. Were they disrespectful? I don't know. I, yeah, no, I can't hear you, love. No, I literally thought I heard Raven's voice. No, I can't hear you. But no, it is Cincinnati 21. Mm, I don't think heck, we disrespected Miami at the end of the 88 game. The 89. No, definitely Miami 89. You're on mute.
Say again.
I said definitely Miami 89. They were definitely disrespectful.
Oh yeah, but that's when football meant a little different. It wasn't too much of the stuff that we get now, where everybody's focused on brand and building that optical relationship. And social media.
I can't hear you, left. I can't hear you. We keep having technical difficulties, man, and we're trying. This is like the last topic in the show. Lucky Lefty podcast. Oh yeah, we forgot. Yo, the announcement, right? June 12th? Is it July 12th or June 12th? I forget. Correct me if you guys. NCAA drops this summer. What team are you rolling with, man? What team are you gonna start that first franchise with? Because I never do it. My first franchise is always Notre Dame, but I always have a side piece. All yeah, July the 12th. I always have a side piece, right? I do my franchise, not franchise, but I do my Notre Dame team, and then I always have another dynasty with a side piece. So I don't feel like I'm cheating on Notre Dame. I guess I kind of am, but it's all good. Now, back in the day, I'll get to who my NCAA side piece was back in the day. But go ahead and answer the question you were talking about with competition.
Yeah, I said I think because the personal brand building and optical relationship that players want to maintain in college, that a perfect example with social media. Perfect example is LeGarrette Blount punching the Boise State player. Ever since then, I think it changed on an individual level of players doing the grimy stuff that you hear about on these documentaries and 30 for 30s about guys and how these players were doing all this stuff. Like, did you see the comment of the guy from the Rockets that beat up Gary Payton because he was talking too much stuff?
Yeah.
Like that wouldn't have happened,
Vernon Maxwell, yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, he talking about he beat him up because he was talking crazy to the player in practice, this and that. And so those stories are easier told than now because everything is spotlight. The Draymond Green has a negative connotation on that story because I feel like if it was 20 years and not on social media, that would be a legendary story about Draymond. Because if Michael Jordan did that same story where you punched Steve Kerr and I was on TMZ and we're social media out, we'd be looking at Jordan a little different. Because the way they spin it, the way they spin it.
Yeah.
So because it's not
yeah.
it's a oral story, it just adds to a legacy. Ooh, that was cold blooded. That was killer. Because they judging him off of the end of his career. During that time, he won what 2 championships or so.
Yeah.
You punching the dude, you only 2 championships up. You different. It's different. The 6 championships, you punching the dude. Oh, it all makes sense. You know what I mean? It all makes sense. So.
Lucky podcast. So you didn't hear me. July 12th, NCAA 24 drops.
Yep.
Who you rolling with? Or who was always your side piece? Because we all play with Notre Dame. We always get a dynasty with Notre Dame.
I was a Florida State guy. I played with Florida State.
That was my Florida State was my dynasty side piece too. Okay.
Because I played with Florida State, but everybody would try to pick Oregon. Not many people picked Ohio State, but it was always Oregon at Florida the time State because of that
always
offense.
Had super fast receivers.
But Florida State was that team that you may not even know all the dudes' names, but you know that they had enough of what you needed. So Florida State's my go-to team.
So, you play online. I used to always play online against people, right? So I never forget the first time my daughter heard me speaking expletive. I was playing this dude. I had Florida State, and I want to say he had Texas or somebody. No, he had USC. He had USC, and I had Florida State. It was a back and forth game. Like he was good. Back and forth game, right? He takes the lead with 5 seconds on the clock left. 5 seconds on the clock, he takes the lead. And he's talking trash because I got the headset on. He's talking trash. Like you can hear it. Da, da, da. So at the same time that he's talking trash through the speaker, I didn't have the headsets on. I let it come through the speaker. He's talking trash through the speaker. And I'm talking about, he's talking crazy. My wife and daughter walk in simultaneously, right? I'm heated, right? Because I'm like, man. So he kicks off. I go return left and break it to win the game. When I tell you, that dude was talking the entire game. When I tell you, I let that dude have it. And my baby girl walked around the corner, and I was totally shamed. Like, oh my God, I'm sorry, baby girl. It was like one of my worst daddy moments of all time, man. Playing NC2A. It was like one of my worst moments because I'm letting this dude have it, and here comes my baby girl, who's probably like 3 or 4 at the time, waddling around the corner, and she sees me snapping, and she's just looking like.
Yeah, it's those NCAA and those games bring out the worst in you.
Man.
And it's so silly because it's just a game and all that, and you know that. But it's like, man, the way the game is, it brings something else out.
It brings something, man. It definitely brings something out of you, man. So that was my old side piece. Who's gonna be the side piece this year? Because John Massey, you brought up a good point. Creative players. And I used to always play my freshmen. Anytime I recruited a true freshman at quarterback, especially if he was a 5-star and I got him, oh, I'm playing him. I don't care who the incumbent is. I'm playing him. And I'm playing him for 2 years, and then I'm letting the new freshman play that I recruit. John Massey says, I'm not playing with Leonard. He hitting the bench or the portal in my dynasty. Kenny Minchie is starting. Okay, John Massey. I might follow your lead in that, dude. I might follow your lead in that, John Massey. I think I might want to roll with Minchie as my starting quarterback next year. Wouldn't it be dope if you had, now this would be dope, guys. What if you had 3 separate dynasties? One with CJ Carr, one with Kenny Minchie, and one with Roddy Leonard, and see how it turns out.
Do you think they'll play both?
In real life?
Yeah, in real, like, you know, had me thinking of maybe there's a situation where they play both Riley and Kenny this season.
Hey,
I think the way we recruited and got these transfers,
yeah,
Marcus Freeman should have that on the bingo card because we should be blowing teams out, you know.
Yeah, I wonder how recruiting are they going to include, because it's not connected to the schools. I wonder if NIL is going to be included in recruiting in some way. I'm very interested. That would be dope if we had LL NCAA Fridays or something like that, or we have the matchup of the week, and we try to stream it through the website. Need to have an LL dynasty. That's what MWJR says.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Yeah, somebody was saying we need to have like a LL league on NCAA.
Oh, we definitely got to get the franchise going. Definitely got to get the franchise going.
Yeah, that would be dope. Lucky Lefty podcast. Thank you to everybody that joined in today, man. I think if Kalen DeBoer was still in Washington, Washington probably would have been my side piece for NCAA 24. But with him going to Alabama, my early side piece would be, man. No, as much as I love my boy Carnell, I refuse to play with Ohio State.
Yeah, I would probably play with Miami. They got CJ Ward, you know. They got the transfer. They got some players, you know. Miami be like, nice location.
Like playing with Georgia is like cheating, right? Like
I mean, who are Georgia's marquee players right now? Carson Beck.
They always
the safety Starks. I mean,
they always have somebody.
They always have a really good team, but you know, Alabama, when they had Jerry Jeudy and all those guys, you knew their names. So I think it does carry a different weight. You know what I mean? Like they had Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Bryce Young. Like you can name them off the head. So Georgia's never been that team outside of when they had those running backs like Todd Gurley and them, where you can just remember a whole Georgia squad offensively. You know, you remember some players, I guess.
I might think about Sark because I know the playbook is going to be off the chain.
Absolutely.
Texas would definitely.
Texas would probably be the most fun to play with.
Yes.
Hell, Liberty's on the game. They might be fun to play.
They might be fun to play with too. Yes, that might. You're right, Left. That'd be a fun.
Oregon would be fun to play with. You know, Dan Lanning got some stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah. Uniforms are probably super dope. The combinations.
I wonder how realistic they'll make the quarterback play on the game.
I know if you play with Michigan, dude, that offensive line is probably going to be incredible. Absolutely incredible. Man, I'm really stumped by who my side piece is going to be in NCAA 24, Left. I'm really stumped because Texas is too high profile of a program.
But what makes the game great is that you play with a school that isn't that great.
Yes, like I used to have a dynasty with Northern Illinois back in the day.
Kentucky may be a team.
And I built myself into a really good team after like 2 seasons. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. I would recruit Chicago kids like crazy. Like crazy. Guys, thanks for joining in, man. Lucky Lefty After Dark. We talked about Mike Brown, his wide receivers, his evaluation, film evaluation of those guys. Check out Lex Cyrus, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and then Nasir Newkirk out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Both kids great with the run after catch the ball with their hands, sneaky speed, crazy athletic. Great offers from Mike Brown coming out of that wide receiver room. We also talked about, man, legislation, meetings on the Hill, talking about NIL, NCAA, Charlie Baker, the president, begging for legislatures to do something about NIL, how that impacts Notre Dame, the legacy of Jack Swarbrick coming from that, and how he's placed Notre Dame, and Notre Dame being in the best position no matter what happens in this NIL landscape. And then we got into some other topics, man. We hope you enjoyed it. Get back in with us tomorrow, 11 o'clock. And then on top of that, the recruiting hour tomorrow with myself and Ryan Roberts as well over at Irish Breakdown. For Left, I'm SD2 Mike Sean Davis, man. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a blast, as it always is, to talk Notre Dame football and everything else with LL Nation and Notre Dame fans all across the world. Have a great evening, but most of all, you got to make sure that you continue.
Spin it different.
You got to continue to spin it different. See you tomorrow morning.